Okay, so here is the next section, chapter 3 for rational expressions. Today we are going to be solving them. So you're going to be given an equation involving an x in there somewhere, and you will need to actually solve for what x equals. In your notes, you've got a nice little thingy here that tells you the ordering that you can do for solving equations. Now, ultimately, you'll probably just need to memorize the first little bit. Once you get to the later parts, it's not too bad. But you can follow this as you start and then gradually try to get to the point where you don't need to read this in order to solve your equation. So I'm going to walk you through some steps to show you how to do this. First, here's an equation. Whenever you see brackets in there, it's great to just get rid of those first. As long as there's no exponents that you're having to deal with in there, you can just get rid of this. So this is multiplied in, so I'll have 2x minus 6 equals 4x minus 5. Now at this point, what you want to do is you have two x's. That's a problem. So I need to try and get rid of at least one of those x's. So you can either minus 4x onto this side or minus 2x onto this side. It doesn't really matter which one you like to do. I prefer dealing with positive numbers. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So I'm going to show you the steps for the first one here, but for the next I'm not. So minus 2x from both sides of the equation. This cancels. You get minus 6 equals 4x minus 2x is 2x minus 5. Then I need to get rid of this 5 onto the other side. So add 5, add 5. I've got minus 1 equals 2x. And then divide by 2 to get x equals negative a half. So that's the process. You're just going through and trying to eliminate everything so that you can solve for x. You've probably seen these before, something similar. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. But I do want to show you one like f here. So it's hard to see on the notes, but all of these are squared. So let's try and solve this one. First, get rid of the brackets. So 5 plus 4 times this, so 4x squared minus 16 equals 5x squared plus 1 minus 2x squared. Let's combine like terms on each side of the equation. That will make things a little bit easier. So 5 minus 16 gives me minus 11 here, and I've still got 4x squared equals 5x squared minus 2x squared gives you 3x squared plus 1. Now we're in the same boat as the other question. So let's subtract 3x squared from both sides. That'll give us x squared. And I'll just write this out. Then I want to add 12. Add 11, because I'm minusing 11 here. To get rid of it, I do the opposite. So I add 11, which gives me 12 on this side. And then we take the square root of this. So the square root of this side. And don't forget the plus or minus in there. And this is your answer. So you don't need to, you could, if you really would love to, and you just want some practice for once you get to the final, and you want to break this up so that you get 2 root 3. If you want to get familiar with that, that's fine. But I'm not going to be super picky about it for this unit. So those are the basic kind of ones. We can get into some a little bit more complicated here, like this. So the ones before were pretty straightforward. We just had x to the power of 1, and that's it in the equation, or we had x to the power of 2, and that's it for the equation. Now we've got a combination of both. So we're going to have to solve this a little bit different. So for this one, I want to bring everything over onto the left-hand side, and the reason why I'm going to do that is because I notice I have x squared and x to the 1. So I know I'm going to have to factor with this. So by subtracting, I'll get x squared on this side because I minus this, minus 2x So this will give you minus 3x here. Minus 7, so we'll get minus 18 equals 0. Now I need two numbers that add to negative 3, multiply to negative 18. So that is x minus 6, x plus 3 equals 0. And then now you know how to do this. You should hopefully, it's either 6 or negative 3. So that's how you solve that. Not too bad. Those are the easier ones. So if you see x squared, x to the 1, if you have both of those in your term, most likely you are going to have to factor it at the end. Let's try something else. Now we've got denominators. So you'll see with the order of operations that it says to do this, it just has denominators at the beginning. So we're gonna do the exact same thing as we did on the first page, except get rid of the denominators first, then we'll have an expression that we did on the other page. So just one extra step, not too bad. So let's give this a go. The way we're gonna get rid of the denominator is we are going to just multiply both sides of the equation by whatever I can cancel out of the bottom. Now, notice with this, I can only cancel out the denominator if I have an equal sign. If you go way back to the first two sections, wait, let's see if I can bring this out for you. So like something that we did here. I cannot cancel out the denominator because there's no equal sign. I'm just simplifying. If you're asked to simplify, you cannot cancel out denominators. This one has an equal sign, so therefore I can get rid of denominators. This is going to become really tricky once we combine all of these into one unit or into one test at the very end to know when do I cancel out the denominators and when do I just simplify. If you just remember, you can only cancel out denominators when you have a equal sign, then you're good. Then you should be able to do it. So in order to cancel this out, I need to times both sides of my equation by 4x. And I'm going to multiply everything. Not just one term, everything. So in doing this, on this side, 4's cancel. So I have 3x. On this side, I have an x in each denominator, and I'm multiplying by an x. So they're all going to cancel out. This won't always happen, but in this case it does. So when I multiply it in, it'll be 4 plus 8. Combine these terms, so this is 12 equals 3x. Divide by 3, x is equal to 4. So not too bad with that. Again, all I'm doing is I am just getting rid of what's in the denominator. That's the only thing I'm doing. And then I can actually solve for it. Let's try one a little bit more complicated here in C. So again, with this one that doesn't have a denominator, I can pretend it's over 1. Or I'm not pretending, that is what it is. And I need to figure out what do I need to multiply both sides of my equation, every single term, by in order to get rid of the denominator. So I can multiply by 6. That's going to cancel out the 3 and the 1 and the 3. And the x. We'll get rid of this x. So I multiply everything by 6x. So let's give this a go. Let's multiply this in here. So 6 divided by 3 is 2, times 2 is 4. And the x is in there. If I'm doing this too fast for you or something isn't making sense when I'm expanding this all out, pause the video and go back and just listen to it. I'm trying to explain it as I go, but make sure that you are pausing the video if there's something that doesn't make sense. 6x times 1 over 6x is just 1, minus 6 divided by 3 is 2, So it's 2x times 2x minus 3. So there we go. Now we can expand the brackets. This is what we've had on the previous page. Again, once I get rid of the denominators, I'm just doing what I did on the previous page, and that's about it. So we'll multiply this out. 4x minus 4x squared minus 48x equals 1 minus 4x squared plus 6x. Let's see, what can I do for this? Well, I notice I have a minus 4x squared and a minus 4x squared, so these cancel out. So I'm just left with some x's. So I'm going to bring all the x's over onto the left-hand side. 4 minus 48x, that's going to give us minus 44x, minus another 6 when I bring this over, so this is going to give me minus 50x equals 1. So solving for x, we get minus 1 over 50. Sorry, this is hard to show the whole question. Okay. So there you go. That is your answer, is x equals negative 1 over 5. So again, with this, basically your step process is first, get rid of denominators if there's denominators. That's the first thing you want to try and do. Then brackets, figure that out. Then your like terms. And from there, combining the x's or get rid of the extra x. And then adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing as needed. That is section 3. I'm not going to go over this bottom part here. Basically, the bottom part just says, make sure that you are also looking at the restrictions. I'm not going to go over this specifically right now. You've seen the first 2 sections. We talked about that, so I'm not going to do it here, just to make the video a little bit shorter. So that's chapter 3.